Now, some residents of Adenta are threatening to burn more tires and block the roads on November 12. They say the spontaneous protest yesterday was just a curtain raiser for their planned peace walk on Monday to register their displeasure about the carnage on the highway. The residents say, but for police presence there this morning, they would have continued the protest to pile pressure on government to finish work on the footbridges.
Roman.
Roman?
Yes.
Your school is called Roman?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
13 years.
And you are always crisscrossing this road every day?
Yes, please.
And you just live close by?
Yes.
Do you do this every day?
Yes.
How scary is it for you?
Very scary. Like if you are crossing, some can come hit you and die. Every day, yesterday too, some accidents happen here. Today too, some accidents are happening here again.
Do you usually cross the road alone, or sometimes you are in the company of your colleagues?
I'm in the company of my colleagues.
So in times where, let's say, those oncoming vehicles would not heed your cry for them to stop because there's no zebra crossing, for example, here, what do you do as pupils?
I call someone to come and cross me.
To come and hold you and aid you to cross?
Yes.
Have you been worried over the last couple of weeks, if not months, about the absence of the footbridges?
I only ask myself, what is the future of this country? That's what I ask myself every day, because seeing people dying on this road, and you know, politicians are using this road in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, anytime they are using this road, and they see this bridge and they don't want to do anything about it. I just ask myself, what is the future of this country?
Look, more people are crossing, but we also have those who tend to use the road, the commercial vehicles, and for many of them, we would want to also get their views about many of the things that they say. And at the saying, Tobo, at the saying, Sakwawe, Uta Yusupa. Now, also can one more almost say a sanka, yenya foot bridges, Emma Momo passengers, Nanka, Omo Famo Cas Nana.
But I was saying, foot bridge, I say, because who do I say? Zambia ni pane cross sometimes we be dina so be ntwam ko be the speed be be here for honom akọ and there was here in footbridge I say nanka omutimi cross nanka kwan ni mutimi da ho sometimes ya na hear me phone be dina but omo ebo be say 9 to 10 na omo pon and the school for na omo mo twam na sa omo nyina twam sa sometimes no omo say wo ba omo so when now is not the speed no be cross
sa
no the speed no be cross and the one when you so another abono. And there was some by footbridge man was
I see. So all that he's saying is that, well, they are regular users of the road. Of course, you can see that it's a trotro. You can see the passengers in there as well. But usually, it's not an intention they have that when there's any pedestrian who is crossing the road, they will just knock the person down. Sometimes they are very much unaware about the actions that the next pedestrian may take, whether they're going to cross their car or not. But usually just happens that the pedestrian is just in front of them, and subsequently we have a fatality. Now sometimes it's a difficulty, and I want to speak to some of the passengers. Let's speak to the passengers who use the road. Let's get to have their views on some of the concerns that are being raised. Well, I've boarded throttle the whole of my life, so at least it's not a concern for any of us at all. And at the saying, now one can say,
but I'm at a race.
Oh, hey, yeah, race, hey, yeah, Medina race.
Race, yeah.
Now, let's say a quarrel with the outer
for every blessed day.
Now, Osha, a man for your cool, and I say a car, apple warm, no moon. I had to take a crap. Why didn't you want to say?
The SS ramping for overhead your mother for so many years in the my creative top at the step okay, but my cost master. Nipper a woo. I just saw a week be a nipper woo. Car bomoto bought Omotimoto, so car both school for Uncle Cranem, yeah, bread, yes, so more overhead in my wife.
So he's saying that he's a regular user of the road. Of course, you can see that he's in a trotro. So just like all of us, he's a regular user of public transport. Now, he's worried that we are recording these deaths. For example, he said even at the Reese Junction, there's a traffic light that has broken down. No authority, nobody working with the Ghana Highways Authority has been in a position to fix it, and it's a concern for him. What do you think about the demonstration yesterday? Just because we don't have the footbridges, and so they have to resort to that sort of action as a citizen.
Now, actually, the demonstration there was in place because this road was constructed not, if I'm not mistaken, more than 5 years ago. And footbridge, it has a purpose. Footbridge for a road like this is to enable the people to cross over from one direction to the other. Look at you right now, you and I, we are so able, we can cross this road easily. But what about even those who are even disabled? It's very serious when you are coming. For me, I drive over here all the time. And if you see the way people crosses the street over here, I nearly even knocked somebody down myself about 3 days ago.
When you were using your own car?
Yes, when I was passing here.
We have people who commute, you know, they try and cross the road using some of these items. And you can imagine somebody is having this on the head and will have to cross. And how speedily that pedestrian can do that, your guess is as good as mine. And we're hoping that at least we'll get some answers to some of the issues that have been raised so far. But let me just speak to a last resident.
Yes, no, it's not. So we all joined them to.
So you joined them?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what provoked you to do that?
Yeah, because of the overhead. You see, this thing have to be completed for long ago. And so it's here, this thing have been happening. Sometimes in a day, a car will hit people like 2 down at a day. So it's really provoking. That's why we decided to join the demonstration while the incidents happened yesterday.
Wow. But now that the demonstration has taken place, just because somebody had died, a young student of the West African Senior High School, now a statement has been issued. Government says that they'll quickly ensure that the 6 footbridges on the route are tackled. That should give you some respite as a citizen or a resident.
Yeah, we are hoping for that because even as I'm talking to you now, we've planned for another demonstration on Monday.
Okay, so the residents are saying they'll still go ahead with a planned demonstration on the 12th of November 2018. Yeah. And you also side with that? Yes. Monday, you still come back onto the street?
Yes, because I'm here for the end of. Yesterday's one wasn't really planned. It's because of the way the car knocked that was girl yesterday. That is why that's what instigated yesterday's demonstration of burning of ties. We burnt the ties just to protest.
Were you part of those who burned the ties?
Yes, I was here.
How long were you part of the demonstration?
For more than 2 hours, because we had to press home our demands. Because I was here when the car knocked that lady. I was here. The car knocked her. She went into the air, fell on the ground. She started bleeding from the head. We went to the police station. Look at the police station, the distance to this place. The girl was just lying here. It took the police more than 30 minutes. This girl was jerking on the ground like a fowl.
You mean she was shaking?
Yes. She was just jerking and then bleeding. And nobody could touch her because police wasn't here. No car was ready to pick this girl to the hospital. This girl jerked and died on the road. When she died, then the police were able to come.
Does it look like if you don't demonstrate, nobody listens to you?
We are in Ghana and that's what they have been doing. So we take action, nothing will happen. We still have road minister in this country, transport minister. Are we serious as a Ghanaian? So we block this road, we bend the car, ties, nothing will be done. Are we serious as a country? We have been paying them with taxpayers' money, isn't it? All in the name of none of their daughter or their son will come and cross and car will knock them down. They are always in a VA, going up and down. Look, any minister or any MP, he or she shouldn't try coming here because we can't guarantee their safety. Like seriously, we can't guarantee their safety. They shouldn't try coming here. And we are just waiting for the policemen. When they are out, we will block the road. Not 2 weeks. So I said, fix our footbridge now. As soon as they leave, we will block the road today. We are just waiting for them to leave. If they leave, we will block the road now.
Well, this morning I have with me in studio Dr. Samuel Kojo Kofi, a resident of Adenta, and Cecil Ebugabra, transport consultant and executive director and founder of Top Tech Transport and Logistics. We're discussing further this issue of the Adenta Madina Highway. Government has promised to resume work on some 6 footbridges on that stretch of the N4 highway following a massive protest there Thursday, as we've been reporting. Between January and now, 194 have died from vehicle knockdowns.
Keep on dying till 2019. That's what I want to know. Should we keep on dying? Just a few minutes ago, a child is being hit right here. Yesterday, Joy FM was at Bingo to interview just yesterday, as you can see. And even a day before, the Friday, the assemblyman had an interview. Just that night was the night that we lost Atta. And just yesterday, Joy FM was at Bingo spot to interview us at Adenta. And then just this afternoon, we could hear. Just look at this. Just look at, whilst this thing is supposed to be constructed for them to cross over. Just look. Because we wake up every morning to hear death, death. I wish one day we could wake up in the morning and hear that the road signs are being fixed, the traffic light is on, the road marks are in, the reflectors are working. But no, we only wake up to hear death, death, death.
And that's the reality for most people who live in that community. Occupy Ghana has also issued a statement today following the chaotic scenes in Adenta yesterday. We'll bring you details of that statement, which is titled Occupy Ghana Presents Immediate Solutions for Reducing the Carnage on Tetekwashi-Adenta Highway, the N4. But let me come into the studio and speak to Dr. Samuel Kojo Kofi. You're a resident, and then Sasogaba, you're an expert, but I want to ask you first of all, where were you when these things were unfolding yesterday?
Yeah, interestingly, we had an invitation from the Madina Divisional Police Commander to meet him at 3 p.m. So we were at the police station at 3 p.m. when we had a phone call that unfortunately a lady had been knocked down by a car and she had died. Not long after, we were ushered into the meeting in the office of the commander. So it was actually at the meeting that we heard of the chaos, the protest, people burning ties. So we got to know almost the same time as the Madina Divisional Commander. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's where you were, but maybe let me come to you, Cecil. How did we get to this point? What did we miss?
Well, I'll start it from the construction of the highway, right? Practically, feasibility studies are always, part of the formation of construction of the road. And definitely the engineers will say you need 6 bridges, footbridges at certain areas, okay, so that pedestrians could find it very easy to cross to the other road. This is a multiple lane road, okay? Right, in construction of roads, we have the dual carriage, we have the multiple lane road, and this is 6 lane. And it is never possible for anybody to cross a 6 lane highway. You'll be knocked down, right? So we had it all wrong from the beginning.
So it means that with just what you said, it is not surprising that we've recorded these numbers in terms of fatalities.
Not surprising at all. I believe what we all say, what the 194 is what we know. And there are so many incidents where people have had injuries, had their hands, legs maimed, and so on, that have not been counted. Right. So we had it all wrong from the beginning. We, in the first place, the road shouldn't have even been commissioned. Okay, we should have waited for the pedestrian safety to be prioritized as number 1 first. After all, who uses the road, right? If people are driving, people must cross the road. Okay, we have the same thing on the N1. We're not talking about it now, but a lot of deaths do occur on daily basis on the N1. I mean, what we are seeing at the Adenta is nothing, right? But why do we have to sit down for this to happen? Why do we wait for all this to happen? 11 good years now. So is the government trying to tell us that they haven't noticed that the footbridges have not been constructed, and what do we have in place? So we had it all wrong. In fact, I will even suggest that all those people who are involved, Ghana Highway authorities and so on, they should bow their face in shame. They should even leave their positions, right? We have very good engineers, but if they are not doing their work well, and this has happened, then they should leave their positions and give way to other people to work.
Would you understand? I mean, is there anything that could convince you why we haven't completed something that we started?
Well, I'll say the politics in this country is too much. Okay, this is a political issue, right? Why do we have to rush and then commission a road that has not been completed? Okay, right? Ministers, politicians, they are all involved in this situation. I'm not leaving anybody out. Right? And I'm speaking for myself as a road safety person as well as a member of Occupy Ghana, right? That I feel heads must roll. The minister should resign. I mean, it's a shame to this country, right? 11 years. We've had the Kufuor government, we've had the Atamils, Mahama, and so on. No priority has been given to the construction of bridges, which means that pedestrians don't mean nothing to this country. But travel and see. In a country like Netherlands, Denmark, and so on, right, you, the pedestrian, have that priority over the person driving. And we don't have it here. Go and try it, and you get an insult.
Dr. Kofi, it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
You haven't had the footbridges operationalized.
Yeah.
So what have you done as residents?
Yeah, as residents, first, we use informal approaches, trying to reach out to the members of parliament, the municipal chief executives, and all the stakeholders who mattered in order to address this carnage. But our efforts were met with scorn. Nobody was prepared to listen to us. So what we did was to write an official petition to the minister on the 15th of September 2018. That is Honorable Amwako Atta. And then we copied a letter to the municipal chief executives, both for Adenta and Madina, and then the chair of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Roads and Highways, the two members of Parliament, the Madina Police Commander, and then the Adenta Police Commander. But unfortunately, after following up with this petition, and officially and also informally, we never received any response.
Not from any of the others that you copied as well?
Not even our representatives. It's just the Assemblyman of West Adenta, Rashid, who more or less had spent all his time. So, notwithstanding all these, then we decided to have a town hall meeting. So on the 28th of October, on the 28th of October, we had a town hall meeting, and fortunately, the municipal chief executive of Madina was present, and he re-echoed what had already been said, that he had had interactions with the minister and the highway officials concerned, and they had resolved to commence work on the footbridges, the traffic light, and all the necessary safety measures that needed to take place by the end of October. So then we had a meeting.
No, so you met 28th.
28th.
And work was supposed to begin ending
before the end of October.
Okay.
So we had waited almost the whole of October towards the end of October 28. That's when we held a town hall meeting. And the town hall meeting, we have diverse people within the community, ex-police officers, ex-senior military commanders, almost everybody who mattered within the community. And then we had a resolution, and we decided to petition the police for a peaceful walk. So on the 31st of October, we gave letters, we served letters to the police commanders for both Adenta and then Madina, and then we copied the municipal chief executives and the members of parliament. Still, we did not receive any response until the Friday when Atta died. She had gone to buy food and was crossing the road, and unfortunately a car ran over her. And as the community members were mobilizing to remove her from harm's way, the second vehicle approached, and when the driver was even signaled to stop, unfortunately the driver did not stop and then ran over her, and then she died instantly, that was the genesis of the agitation. That was the moment where the spontaneous routing was there. Even I wasn't an eyewitness when it started. We all heard it on the radio and on phone, and then we rushed there. So we thought that that would even signal a willingness or expeditious effort on the part of the authorities. But unfortunately, the ministers and all the stakeholders will come on radio and TV and said, oh, we will address it in 4 months, in a year, we are tendering, we are doing
and
this.
And then we had, by 2019, we would
the greatest asset that we've had is the media, Joy FM, Adum FM, and all the well-meaningful media personnel who have more or less helped us. So what happened yesterday, just it's more or less ignited, and I'm just speculating or predicting that should there be any road carnage again, it will happen and may even replicate across the country.
Sure, I'll come to you for us to continue in terms of the demonstration and where we are now. But Cecil, what kind of speed is allowed on that stretch? It's a highway, it's a traveling road. It's not easy to signal and say a driver should stop when they get to a certain point on that stretch. How easy is that?
Well, in the first place, we have the LI 2180 that talks about speed limits in the country, right? For instance, if you're driving in town, the speed limit must be 50 kilometers per hour. If you're driving on the highway, such as the Adenta highway, speed limit must be 80 kilometers per hour. But who controls this? As I sit here, the Ghana Highway Code that I have in my hands, okay, was published in 1974. To date, as I sit here, this is what you'll be given by DVLA to go and learn how to drive. It doesn't make sense to me. Right now, speed limits must be changed, okay, to be practical speed limits. I'll give you another example. For instance, if you are driving from Tetekwashi, coming towards 37, there is no way you can drive at 50 kilometers per hour. And people will drive more than even 100, 120. And you know, most drivers driving the four-wheel drives, the bigger engines, the V8s and so on, would like long stretches like this to accelerate and say, yeah, this is what I drive.
That's the only place you can test your vehicle.
Precisely.
That's what they say.
Yes, so it's a major problem. Speed limits do not work in this country. We need practical speed limits.
So what, the 80 is too much on a highway?
Well, the 80, I wouldn't say it's too much, but for a road like where we have Adenta and so on, we need to have a lot more of road signs. We need to have a lot more of speed controls to reduce speeds, because if you are driving and then you get to a dense a populated area, all what you need to do is to slow down, and then you will see the 50 mark telling you that you need to slow down drastically. And in other cases, you have your speed limit as 20 kilometers per hour. But who cares? Nobody cares about this. Do we have people being arrested? And if you arrest me, and I know a police officer or I know a politician, I'll call that person to save me. And I mean, woe unto the policemen themselves. It's just so sad that the E in the safety that we are talking about, which is the enforcement of the laws, are not working in this country. Right. But mind you, the pedestrian is also at fault. I mean, we always talk about the driver, but what about the pedestrian, right? We don't have any situation where people have been arrested for jaywalking. Okay, and it is in our LI 2180 that it is on every road that you should cross. But in this case, they don't have anywhere else. Yes, they don't have anywhere else. Okay, they are supposed to have a footbridge. So it's just that the case is very pathetic. It's different if you had provided the footbridge and people were still crossing the streets the way they're having to do it now. And let's also look at, there are facilities along that stretch. There are schools. And indeed, this young girl who died unfortunately yesterday was coming from one of the institutions. I mean, how do we expect young children to cross this busy road all by themselves? Well, very sad. But then if I could go on again, we have also markets around the area. Okay, we have lorry stations. And this is the only country that I have noticed that if there's a highway, there should be compulsory lorry station around, and that's also one basic thing, right? The highway must not have all those things close to it, right? But then, if I pick, for example, the N1, right? Let me just chip this in, right? Good road, but the town was there before the road was constructed. Usually, you have the construction of the road before you have the town, and that reduces road crashes because we'll have footbridges and so on in the area.
But you and I have been in Ghana. This is our normal. This is normal.
Yes, it's really normal. It's sad, but Occupy Ghana is taking this up, and we want to see where it's going to be.
We'll run through some of the things that you've listed in your press statement, but help us understand. Traffic lights also don't work?
Absolutely. The traffic light at the SDA junction had been down for more than 3 months. And the one at the Dodua-Ebri intersection more functions. Some of them, sometimes some of the sections will work, other times they wouldn't work. So when the drivers get it, it's a huge chaos. And then the one at Race Junction always is also non-functional. And so that, and the street lights are not working.
But we've heard that sometimes the MTTD would give some of its officers to help citizens move around. How true is that?
Oh, once a while. I mean, once in a blue moon, you see a police officer there. That's once in a blue moon. I've seen them. But it's not like they are there all the time.
So what is the issue with the traffic lights? It's not just Adenta SDA. It's almost everywhere. I use the Accra Nsawam Road. Traffic lights simply don't work. We can name many places. What is our challenge with the traffic lights?
Yes, our challenge is electricity. Okay, right. In the past, we've had a lot of cheap traffic lights being installed in this country. But the best all over the world is the solar panel system where rain or shine, it is working, okay? Right, I feel this is time for us to charge those who are involved, those who are supposed to make sure that our traffic lights work. That's what I can say for now, because traffic lights must not be faulty, right? As soon as it is faulty, I mean, numbers must be given that companies that are like signals and control and so must be called to repair the traffic lights.
Who's in charge of the lights?
Well, it is the Ghana Highway Authority, okay, as well as the Department of Urban Roads, okay. They are in charge of making sure the traffic lights work in town, and then highways are in charge of the major highways, right. This is not the time to come up with blame games, but I feel it's so easy to have the traffic lights working today. Okay, we have good engineers in this country. If the traffic light must work, it can be sorted out today. And then, you haven't come to our statement yet. We are saying
we'll come to your statement. We'll come to your statement in a bit. Now, the headmaster of the West Africa Senior High School says 5 of his students have been knocked down. The SIP is what led to the death of the student and subsequently the riots.
I will be speaking to the headmaster of WAS. He is in the center of all of this. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. We understand that the student who was knocked and killed is your student. Confirm for us. Is he your student?
Yes, she is.
And do you know what exactly happened this afternoon?
I was at the office attending to some cases there when I had a call from the security man that one of our students had been knocked down by a vehicle. So I sent 2 teachers to go and check on her. And they came back to tell me, she died on the spot. And that when they got there, the police had come to take the body to the morgue. So that's what happened.
Okay. And do we know the identity of the students? Has her parents, for example, been notified at this point about this incident?
Let me keep the name of the student for now. We've not been able to establish contacts with the parents. We know the student in question has a brother in the school, and we've had the number of the brother, but all attempts to get through to the brother has failed. We are still trying to establish contacts with the family, but for now we have not been able to do that.
We understand some of your teachers were caught up in the crossfire. Confirm for us.
Yes. You know, when the incident happened, you know, we are on midterms, but some of the Form 3 students came here to for them to be attended to. We are still in the registration process. There was, yeah, so a few of them were around. And I'm told the student in question, she is a Form 1 student with a green track, and we are on midterms. So her friends came around to study. So they called her that they are here studying. And that she wanted to join them. Okay. So in an attempt to cross the road, then she met that unfortunate incident.
You're watching News Desk. We're still talking about the issue of the Adenta Madina Highway, but we're also merging that with the situation across some parts, or in some parts of the country, the situation with the traffic lights. Let's get on to this statement that's been issued by Occupy Ghana today. They're giving some solutions to reducing the carnage on the Tetekwashi-Adenta Highway. Cecil, you take us through. For instance, you've said rumble strips.
Yes, rumble strips. Okay, rumble strips are mini ramps. Okay, right. They are constructed in sets of 3. Okay, and then when you run through, it gives you that uncomfortable driving moment to force you to reduce your speed. That's a highway. We cannot put huge ramps on. The huge ramps will kill people like what we have on the Cape Coast Highway, and that can be done today. If that is done today, we don't even need residents to go on demonstration or have their night program.
I've seen people speed on what you've just described. And I've heard drivers say, oh, it's like a wake-up call. You know, when you sleep, when you speed on it and you're asleep, it will wake you up.
Yes, I understand so. I mean, the other name is the sleeping policeman. That should wake you up, right? But it depends on the height of it, okay? It should be made as a full ramp, and it should not just be at Adenta. It should come from the University of Ghana area, okay, where if it's possible every 50 or 100 meters. The engineers know what exactly I'm talking about. That will reduce the speed because many drivers speed on that road. Some of them are really mad. In life on the road, I always say that out of 10 drivers around you, 5 of them are extremely mad, and it is true. People don't care about pedestrian safety. They will just run through these rumble strips. But we should also have the issue of traffic lights, not only 1 or 2. Okay, and it's all over. This should cut across all over the country, including the N1, right? Traffic lights, compulsory traffic lights, right? That will slow you down and stop you just to reduce your speed. Right, and in road safety, every speed which is more than 60 kilometers per hour kills. Okay, if people are driving within 20 to 60 kilometers per hour and they knock any human being, right, injuries will occur, but not deaths. But every speed which is more than 60, that's 70, 80, the chances of survival is quite slim. So we need to force people, okay, to slow down and adhere to the speed limits on the road. As for the speed limits that we see, my grandmother would say it's just catching.
You know, the reason we've heard this has not been finished all has to do with money. So the strips you're talking about that we can fix today, isn't that costing?
Well, that wouldn't be much expensive than we sitting down for the footbridge to take 1 year to be constructed, where we'll have maybe this time 1,000 deaths. Okay, it's cheaper. It's a material. It's a special material. And I know Ghana Highways, as I'm talking, have gotten it now. It's a thick paint. Okay, and it will not cause any harm on this road. Later on, if the right thing is done and they want their speed back, that could be removed. But I'm saying that could be done, and that's what Occupy Ghana is asking the government to look at. Right, these are cheaper ways to control speed and make sure that we'll not have any death from now till maybe 4 or 5 years that will finish constructing the.
We've seen Occupy Ghana go red. We've seen Occupy Ghana go to courts. What are you willing to do if what you've listed which includes the traffic lights, the strips you're talking about, if this does not get done?
Well, we usually give a time frame. Okay, we haven't stated it, and I believe that my members are watching, they are listening, and if we need to call for a Red Friday, we will call it and save lives in this country.
What kind of timelines are we working with the statements?
Well, we said immediately, as soon as possible, and it should be done. Rambo strips could be done today. Let's save lives. In fact, this morning I woke up and I was shedding tears. My daughter is 14 years. The young lady that lost her life is also 14. And I can't just imagine you are going to school and you be knocked down and you die. The other sad thing is the last E in road safety. I mentioned we have 4 E's, but I'm talking about emergency services. This lady was knocked down and nobody could even go close to her because Ghanaians are scared of blood. I am talking about the implementation of compulsory education on first aid in this country. Okay? If you travel elsewhere in Europe, it is compulsory for everybody to know how to swim. Ghana, don't bring it here. It is also compulsory for you to know first aid. I mean, somebody is dying, what you need to do. Ghanaians are so scared. I mean, this lady, I heard it on air, was shaking, shivering, and died, right? We could have gone there to give her the CPR, to bring her back to life, hold her very well, put her in a vehicle. But you know, the normal Ghanaian, as soon as you see the blood, I mean, people tend to run away.
They were waiting for the police?
Well, in this situation, you don't need to wait for the police. We go, and then assuming he knows first aid and I know first aid, we will save this young lady, depending on the injury.
And Occupy Ghana is expecting that government will do all the things that you've talked about, including the education.
Yes, it is up to...
And the first aid training.
It is up to the Ministry of Transportation through the National Road Safety Commission and all stakeholders, as well as you and I, to do it. It is a collective way of solving the problem. You don't rely on one part. We all are involved because 99% of goods and services in this country is transported by road.
Dr. Kofi, is the demonstration coming up on Monday?
Yes, it's a peace walk. The peace walk is coming on Monday.
So this is not a demonstration, it's a peace walk?
It's a peace walk. And as I said previously, we had a meeting with the divisional commander. I understand when I was waiting here for this interview, some of the members have had discussions with the regional police commander. I'm here to confirm, and he's directed them back to the Madina police commander. So I'm sure an amicable solution will come up, and the police will perform their constitutional and mandated role of providing security for the residents during the peace walk. We are not blocking any road, we're not causing any violence, we're not destroying any property.
But you know that some of the residents are really angry.
Oh, anger. I mean, anger. People are angry, obviously, but we are using peaceful means. That's why we are wearing the T-shirt, Fix Our Ford Bridges Now, and we have the posters and the rest. So we are talking to the resident, and we hope and believe. Also, let me use your medium, your cherished medium, to urge the resident. We call upon the resident that on Monday, nobody should come there with petrol, nobody should come there with ties, nobody should come there with any implement. Nobody should give the police an excuse to deliberately or mistakenly shoot or maim or kill innocent people. People should just come wearing their T-shirts, holding placards, walk by the side of the road quietly. We are not blocking traffic flow in the inner multiple lanes, as Cecil said. We are just on the outer lane.
Okay,
and
all
we
right.
believe the
you know
police.
what we say? When it happens, we'll report. So we'll certainly be there. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Dr. Kofi Cecil, thank you as always. We will be monitoring what Occupy Ghana does next, especially when nothing is done about what you've listed. We're hopeful though. This is News Desk. When we return, Huawei launches Y9 2019. We've got details.